Hi everyone, today I have a special treat. This is going to be a tutorial on how to make pasta that is two-toned. Extra veggies have been added and we're using organic whole milled flour, so milled fresh from home. I'm going to take out any debris that I find in my wheat berries. I'm using hard white wheat and I'm going to be milling them in our beautiful new mill from Skippy Grain Mills. This is the Haworth Octagon 2 and she is a beauty. From there, we are going to be creating the colors in our pasta. So I'm using roasted capsicum with water. The oils in there are natural, just from the capsicum. I'm going to add my salt in there as well and then blitz that until it is completely smooth. We're going to do the same with our greens, and you can decide on what you'd like for greens, whether it's spinach, you want to add some flavor in there, you can add basil, whatever you like. I'm going to weigh it out, and the ratio I'm using is a 55% hydration. So if I have a kilo of flour, I will use 550 grams of hydration. Considering that the capsicum doesn't technically count for hydration, just add bits of water as you go until you get a nice pliable, kneadable consistency. It will soften out over time as well as the grain hydrates and absorbs the liquid. So it might start off feeling and looking really firm, but it will soften out as it rests. I'm going to add water little by little and continue to knead it until it all comes together into one solid ball. You want to knead it for about 5 to 7 minutes or until it looks a little something like this. Wrap it up with some plastic food wrap and then let it rest for half an hour. In the meantime, I will make that green section. I happen to have a whole bunch of greens in my vegetable patch that I needed to use up. So these were broccoli leaves and some silver beet. Added water, again using the same hydration ratio. I'll have the recipe written down in the description box. Add in a pinch of salt in there as well. And when it starts to come together, you can knead it. You don't have to do it directly on the bench like we did for the first one. You can start off in the bowl to keep things a little bit cleaner. It is an extra bowl that you do have to wash though, so first world problems. We are going to wrap that up once we've finished kneading it and let it rest also for half an hour. I'm using semolina flour here as a non-stick and I'm going to roll it out pretty thin, about 3 or so millimeters, enough so that I can pop it into the pasta machine at the largest setting. I've got a mechanical one which is nice and easy to just sort of feed it through and use both hands. As it comes out the other side, I am going to fold it over and feed it through a second time and then a third time. I prefer to pass it through the pasta roller twice on each setting. I start off with 3 times just because it has to really come together. So I'll start on number 7, then I'll bring it down to dial number 6, pass it through twice, dial number 5, pass it through twice, and I'll stop at about dial 4. I'll do this for all the pasta in both colors, and you do want to add semolina as you go so that it doesn't stick, and that way you just have a much better time passing it through. Again, give it a fold. Give it a little pinch at the seam, and I always like to feed it in the seam first. And you can actually taste the vegetables, I find, when you cook the pasta. It does have this hint of capsicum, no matter what sauce you use. It's really nice. Do the same with your second pasta. Once you have all of your panels prepared, now's the time to get them to become multicolored. So we're going to stick them together. I like to roll them all out individually first. That way when I do pass them through the machine together, it sticks really well. So I've just sprayed just some water, nothing fancy. I'm going to lay one over the other, trim off the excess, and give it a good massage to secure both layers together. When you pass it through the pasta roller, that's when they really solidify. So we had setting number 4 for each. Now we can pass it through setting number 5 together. And I would actually stop it at setting number 5. I find it's a really nice thickness for tagliatelle, which is what we're making today. Oh, sorry, fettuccine. I wish I had a tagliatelle roller. That would be amazing. So you can see it rolls out a little bit thinner, and that's what really helps to glue the two together. So on one side it's green, and on the other side it's orange. Super gourmet looking, and it's a lot of fun to make. I'm going to trim them down to the height or the length that I would like my fettuccine. Make sure both sides are amply coated with the semolina flour, and then feed it through the cutter. What I like to do, because the edges are always going to be messy, I'll grab the 2 edges and then I'll collect the middle, and that way each batch just looks super neat. If you're going to store it, I would recommend putting it in the fridge for about a week. Otherwise, you could do what I'm doing next, and that's going to we're going to dehydrate them so it can last up to 2 months at room temperature. Once they're cut, make sure they are nicely coated. Every single strand is coated in semolina so it doesn't stick. As it sits, it'll collect and hydrate the semolina that's on the outside, and then it becomes sticky. So you really want to make sure you douse it in that flour. Roll it up into a rough nest and continue until all of your pasta panels are complete. I feel like when you make it with freshly milled flour, there is a slight al dente bite to your pasta when you cook it. It's actually quite nice. It has a slightly nutty texture, nutty flavor, with the vegetables that come through as well. I'll leave a link down below if you guys would like to check out the Hawas Octagon 2 from Skippy Grain Mills. That's the company that has sent us this beautiful meal to try out, and I am in love with it. And that's it. You can now dehydrate your pasta nests if you want to keep them long term. I would store them in an airtight container, or if you want them fresh, you can just pop it into the fridge instead and consume within a week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this was a handy recipe for you on your freshly milled flour journey, and feel free to subscribe for more recipes. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.